Alright. Back into the cleaning action. And we have a Spanish villa. Got your number from Mayor Jefferson down the road. He said you're really powerful, which is just what I need right now. Something amazing's happening to me in my life my feeling has always been, follow the energy and life is a charging station. No, we cleaned that one last episode. Does your name mean that you only do general dirt, like dust? Most of my dirt is much more specific than that. Felicia Margarita. Okay. That's fine. Let's see what she's got at her villa. It's a big one. We kind of figured it was going to be a large map, which is why I didn't try starting it last time. So, gorgeous countryside. There's the volcano in the background still. Strange that we don't have to go up onto the actual roof itself. Selective dirt, it seems. I just love it. Okay, that's good for you. We're already off to the races with the small talk. Can we make do with just the white nozzle? Seems we might be able to. If I were a bird, I'd be a damn fine wormer puller, but my nest would be awful. What even is it? Hey, Mr. Smarty, welcome, welcome. Yes, you announced Arkansas a little while ago. They did. It's interesting. Forgot about Louisiana. It's because they already had Texarkana. If you look at the map, the road connections into Arkansas kind of make more sense. I wonder if they're going to do like a Louisiana-Mississippi double feature or something. That, or it's just taking them longer than they wanted. They might have wanted to do Louisiana next, but maybe it's taking them too long to get stuff done for that. Yeah, I think the main connections into Louisiana are mostly like from the north and stuff anyway, like from Arkansas, so I think they probably just decided what's going to be more logical as a freight connection mindset, not just a pure geography mindset. And I can understand that, I can respect that. I should probably actually clean like along the top first. Whether to continue with the sort of up-down or to just do it in like each layer. So I kind of want to turn around and face the outside, spray backwards rather than into the wall. Yeah, I haven't actually looked at much of the stuff about ATS and the expansions. I don't know whether or not they justified their release of Arkansas first. Oh, each tile strip is a separate feature. Okay, so I know what I'm doing. If I did them vertically, then I'd get them all dinging at the end, I guess, but that's fine. Is about to follow. Oh, you'll see why in a minute. Okay. Because that's not foreboding at all. I don't know how these things work. I just work here. Yeah, it's a case of if they are making DLC decisions that seem a bit weird, then I could prefer it if they gave some sort of justification. Like they said, oh, we're doing this because like, some of you may be wondering why we're going here first, and give some explanation, because there's got to be a reason for it. You haven't looked much into it. I do need to get back into playing more ATS. I'd started to explore a bit more of Texas and want to get back into that. It's just been a bit of a hell of a couple of weeks. See, now with these, I'm guessing it's because of there's a yeah, the leading edge. Yeah, that's going to be a bit annoying, doing it this way. Like, it's the more logical way to clean, but it does miss the edges. But realistically, I don't think you'd be wanting to spray up at the edge of the tiles, because then water will come through, and that's not good. Don't ask why I have bits on my alt, I made a mistake. Okay, well thank you for the bits. I don't even know how you accumulate bits on things, because I think some parts of the world you can like, watch ads for bits and things like that. None of that is enabled for New Zealand accounts. I've never been able to participate in anything like that. Otherwise I would have. Because I don't mind watching some ads and racking up some little bitties to give to other people. But the conversion rate for actually buying bits is abysmal. I'm all for doing easy things to get free stuff, basically. Okay, it's going to be the leading edge of this. Okay, so from here, chuck on an extension. Oh, that's right. Scroll down still doesn't work. I wonder if that's even been reported. That seems like something they should have fixed really easily with a hotfix, but I don't know. It seems they haven't. Maybe it's just my mouse. I don't know. There we go. That's what I want. Might as well just finish doing this whole piece of building, to be honest. Just do this whole side. Also betting this is going to be the one that's shown predominantly on the time-lapse. I'm doing it first. Whatever. Oh, the decorations are separate. Let's go through Twitch RPG, short 5-minute surveys for... Yeah, 100 bits. That's the thing, is I don't believe you can do that in New Zealand. It's kind of annoying. Because I do similar sorts of things, like we have a loyalty program over here called Flybys. Used to predominantly use it for like redeeming for flights and stuff. I don't really fly anywhere anymore, but they do also have like a shop and you can redeem it for gift vouchers. And I do little surveys, they take like 5-10 minutes every now and then. So do that sort of thing. There's like the Microsoft rewards, you just click on a few tiles a day and get some points from that, and then you can turn it into various redemptions. Usually charity redemptions. What angle am I missing on this upper wall? Because the arches are different. Ah, there's a sort of texture that I'm probably not getting the top of. Just follow this around. Yeah, I'm more than happy to just spend a little bit of my downtime if I'm not doing anything in particular. Yeah, I'll rack up some free stuff. Take free 10 cents. Oh, why thank you. Maybe a gumball. Yeah. Okay. Enough 10 cents makes $1. Enough dollars makes a cup of coffee. You know. Big things are made up of little things. Always remember this. Yeah. Why is the stepladder there? Stepladder, what are you doing? Oh, that's right, I need a... Okay. You can just, like, go... Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna clean this bit of the floor and then put the stepladder down there so I just don't have to care about it, because I'm probably not going to use it. I'm not sure. I guess that would have given me a little bit of extra elevation for getting above the decorations and stuff, but meh. These plants are going to get the watering of their life. Green should be plenty for most of this stuff. There we go. Exchange rate of bits to New Zealand dollars to 1 cent. I think so. Well, I think it's more the fact that it goes into US dollars, and then when I get paid out from Twitch, the US dollars converts into New Zealand dollars. I think. It's weird, because then they made it that you can like subscribe in local currency and stuff, and I don't know if the conversion then takes place into like your Twitch holding account sort of thing, because I'm fairly sure in the Twitch backend everything's still USD, because it's an American company, so as far as I'm concerned all of their liabilities are expressed in US dollars, and then they just get converted on payout, I think. I don't know. Means you can potentially lose out based on exchange rate fluctuations between when donations are given and stuff, but it gets complicated. Do bits get taxed? They could. If I earned enough from Twitch that I needed to declare it as income, then it would be subject to additional income tax. As it is, it just goes into my account as just a deposit, and it's underneath any sort of reporting threshold, because I don't do much on this platform, let's be honest. I get maybe a payout every year, which is nice. I appreciate anything that I get from this a lot, because I do this as a hobby. So it is not my, thankfully, it's not my primary work. Even though I enjoy it a lot, I would love to have the freedom to make this like my full-time job, but that would require a much larger community of people who are interested in me rambling about crap. Which, I mean, you know, there's a lot of market for that out there, but it's already a pretty saturated market, let's be honest. It's one of those things where the low barrier to entry is great for people to get in and do their thing, put their own stamp on the medium and stream how they want, what they want. But because of that, it means that it's this hugely oversaturated market, so you don't generally make something off it. Even the big players rely on like sponsorship deals and extra donations and such, so. But yeah, if this was enough of a profitable pursuit that I earned, I can't even remember how much it is, it's several $100s at least, then I would be obliged to declare it as income to be taxed. Don't have the ability to watch ads for bits, but do have Twitch RPG. Okay, yeah, at least you got that in Canada. It's a start, right? I don't think I should look it up again, to be fair, because these things, when they first roll out, they'll often be more limited, and then sometimes they'll roll out to new countries. And I should pay attention, I should look up about it, because if it is a thing in New Zealand, then I should take advantage of it. Watching ads is even better, because that requires no active participation from me. It means I can just do that while I'm doing something else. And have ads for bits for legal reasons. Yeah, it gets very complicated. I don't see why that is such a legal complication, to be honest. It's kind of weird. I guess it is easily exploitable, so there's that. But that's kind of Twitch's problem, not your problem. I don't know. Make a macro to go. Yeah, exactly. That's how it's kind of abusable. I guess this is where my stepladder would have been handy. Or I should have thought to spray down on this. Oh, apparently I can use the pots as a ladder. Okay, never mind. Brilliant. Even now, parkour. I remember ages ago someone boasting about like exploiting bots and things to get a ton of YouTube subscribers and stuff too. That would be more useful for me, because I have a lot of content on YouTube and I make nothing from it. It's just another hobby. But arguably it takes more time and effort, quotation marks. It is effort, especially if you do any sort of video editing. It takes a lot more investment to get stuff on YouTube. But it's a lot harder to make anything from it. It's a bit of a shame. Well, that's that wall completely done. We're just, you know, a casual 17% through already. This is whipping by pretty quickly at the end. I thought this was going to be... It is large, but I thought it was going to be even bigger than it is. So it's kind of glad that it's about the size that it is. Maybe they've learned a thing or two about making things big for the sake of being big. And toned it down a little. Clipping into things there. Cool. There's the service where you could watch ads to make money. They stopped doing it because people started to make macros and literally predict free money. Yeah. I get it. They want to know that someone is actually engaging, because otherwise the advertisers will then look at that and go, yeah, we're not actually going to pay you anymore. We're not going to advertise on your platform because we don't think we're actually getting genuine engagement. It's just bots. Just kind of the Twitter situation, I think, at the moment. I still post on there. I came very late into actually trying to leverage Twitter for useful reasons for this sort of thing. And should have gotten onto that a lot earlier. And it's kind of already past it now, but never mind. I should go over to this roof now, because I can use that as a stepping stone to get up there. They know their players, like they have made it so that you can jump around on things in order to get up places. Okay, it is bigger than I thought. It has more verticality than I thought. I didn't think this level existed. And this soft fade is annoying because you never know where to clean from, so if in doubt, just go right from the top, just to make sure. Like, if it was a case of you had to consciously click on an advertisement and then, like, confirm the bits that you receive from it, then that would be fine, because I would still happily do that just sitting on my phone or whatever. Or just on another tab while I was watching something else on another screen. I just kind of every now and then glance across. And that's more engagement, right? There's more likelihood that you'll actually see the advertisement. So that should satisfy advertisers. Cats are hopelessly helpless animals. No, they're really not. Cats are dicks who will take advantage of you. Nature would have killed them off years ago. No, I think you're getting confused with, like, pugs and bred dogs. Those are not natural. Window ledge. Did I get the... I didn't get the window ledges on the other things. Probably the underneath. Yeah, there we go. Like, there's some mobile games that I've played before where it's like that. You get the premium currency by... You click on it, you watch an ad, and then you confirm, yep, I redeem my currency. And, like, that's enough to satisfy their advertisers, it seems, so... And it's all just provided through, like, a advertising service or agency anyway, which they'll have contracts with lots of different games. Like, the game producers will just sign up to a particular advertising service. Has made an AI bot that has their personality and post reply to people on Twitter so they don't need to? Almost certainly. I mean, that used to just be called like a communications manager or a PA or something, right? Celebrities have been employing people in that sort of position for a long time. Yeah. Whether or not they're now using AI to do it instead, wouldn't surprise me. AI is it's a bit shit a lot of the time, let's be honest. Like, if it's really simple stuff, it'll do fine. But the way that people have been able to make very amusing circumstances happen with the likes of the chatbots and stuff, you can bait them. Once you know how they operate, you can bait them into all sorts of shenanigans. And I think that would be too dangerous for a public person. Like, if you were, like, say, a politician or a business person or something like that, and you had a AI-based chatbot with all of the usual ways that you can exploit them, you could make someone say all sorts of stuff, which I don't think anyone wants to risk. So, on the one hand, I would expect it. But I'd also kind of expect that people would think about it, maybe start doing it, and then realize, no, this is a terrible idea. Or not. There's a lot of companies that make really bad decisions, so... I mean, just look at Twitter. And Unity, lately. There seems to be some sort of brainworm that's gone through a bunch of notable tech companies that's just prompting bad decisions all around. It's a weird epidemic. Even if there's a confirm button. Oh, sure, but it's making an increased barrier, right? you know, people can start using just like screen clickers and stuff like that. I mean, people already game that for channel points and things. But it's about making it a higher barrier. And it's a case of if you can identify whether or not someone may be using something like that, then you can just drop it from their account. So they'll just have to some sort of mitigation technique. It's tricky. What I would really like is if the regular advertisements that play on streams, like, I don't mind watching ads, but I hate missing out on things. And it's the fact that you miss out on some live content. Like, some streamers will be very courteous about it. They'll see when there's an ad break scheduled, and then they will stop what they're doing, and, like, they'll take a break themselves or something. I don't do that. Sorry, guys. It's too much effort. And also, there's not enough people watching for it to really make much difference. And you're really not missing a hell of a lot, let's be honest. But yeah, it would be nice if there was more, like, banner ads just popped up. So you could, I mean, they have the whole thing where the window goes down into a small bit, but you can't hear it because the ad volume is blaring at you. There's more ads with zero audio where you could still hear the stream would be nice. Streams are free, right? I am very resigned to my fate as a commodity. Scary how realistic macros have been getting lately. Some of the newest captures are starting to fail. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, you just need better security. There's some capture things that I've failed as a person. So, I mean, they've obviously been trying to make them more difficult, but at the same time, in doing so, I think they've just made them less reliable anyway. That's just where having, like, multi-factor authentication and stuff is more useful for verifications and such rather than captures. Obviously you don't want to do that for literally everything. If it's just like a comment submission or some sort of input on things, then it feels excessive to demand a authentication confirmation for stuff like that. But at the same time, that is more reliable. We're getting the inside bits of the roof, but not the beams, because we need to come back on a different angle to get the beams. But that's okay. We'll go back the other way. Why am I walking backwards anyway? I could be doing all of this walking forwards and then getting this side of the beams instead. I don't know what's wrong with me. Put that, but... Oh, the ceiling frame is all the whole thing anyway. It's like, okay. Then there's the corbels, which are different again. We'll work towards the frame by doing these bits. I guess that corbel I've now done. Or maybe I hadn't done the other side of it. Maybe I need the yellow on this, I don't know. It's just that awkward distance where it feels like the green should suffice, but it's kind of struggling a little bit. I really wish these joists were specific bits instead of just part of the overall frame, because it's going to be a pain figuring out what I might have missed. Balcony Corbell. I love his torture. Okay, so now we do get the situation where the ceiling frame is not finished, and I don't know why. Probably the backsides of all of this stuff, but that seems like too much missing to just be to blame for that much. We'll see. Oh, it'll be the outside, of course. The outside is probably dirty as well, so we'll need to stand on the roof below or something and get rid of that. I didn't actually see a... Oh, there is a ladder. I was going to say, I didn't see a ladder. But there is one. I just didn't see it because I'm blind. Haven't been over that side of the courtyard yet. Old scam websites, you go and get bombarded by pop-ups. Oh, yeah. Back in the day. Some reliable sites become that. Yeah, more and more news sites just start looking like the old scam sites. It's like, what has happened? Understand bandwidth is expensive. Bandwidth isn't. That's the thing. Hosting is expensive, potentially. Bandwidth itself is not that expensive. Once the infrastructure is there, which is not the concern of anyone else. It's like the storage, but storage is cheaper than it's ever been. But it's the hosting service. It's the service of providing the routing and all of that stuff. That all adds up. So there is an amount of cost, but again, it is still much cheaper than it has ever been. If people had put more effort into web hosting and things that are constructive, that as much effort as they put into mining fucking cryptocurrencies, then the world might be a better place. Still better than paying. I don't mind paying for services sometimes, but I also don't mind watching ads for things. Like I still refuse to give in to YouTube Premium, no matter how many times that they keep bombarding me with extra ads. And then it's like a blackmail system. You skip an ad and then it tells you, sign up to YouTube Premium as ad-free viewing. It's like, this is now just blackmail. That's what it feels like. Like, I get it, it's fine, but I kind of prefer watching pre-rolls and stuff, so that way I know that the meager income is at least going to who I'm watching. I don't know how premium works in terms of where that money goes. And it's like, well, if I've watched enough content to subsidize my $15 or whatever it is a month, then what about the rest of the content that I'm watching that month? Yeah, are the creators getting dicked out of revenue from not having ads play because I've already divvied out all of my subscription? Like, how does that work? What does YouTube actually front the cost of, okay, here's the ad revenue that you would have paid, and it doesn't matter whether or not I've already used up my allotment? I don't actually know. And I don't know if it's mentioned anywhere. I don't know if it's explained. Because that would be my concern. Is I don't want to deprive people of revenue. My main gripe with advertisements is not getting them, but how bad a lot of advertisements are. Like, so many of them are just really irritating and just stupid. I have a lot more respect for advertisements that just tell me what you're trying to sell me and why you think I should buy it. That's it. That's all I want. Is that really too much to ask? I don't want you just spinning some sort of narrative or any other bullshit. I don't want cute anthropomorphic rubbish. Just, what are you selling and why should I care? There we go. Finally, that one took a while. That one apparently didn't. I just didn't hit it from the right angle. Yeah, gotta do all those from the outside now. Probably do the wall first, but I'm getting a lot of back spray onto the wall, so I'm getting a little bit of free coverage when I do the railing, so it's kind of nicer to do it this way. Get a little bit of free progress. Always nice when I've actually done the railing well enough that it dings. Done some got a reality check the other day. People were selling 4 GB SD cards for $1.30. And someone tested them and they were real. Yeah. Yeah, things are dirt cheap. But the thing is, 4 gig on an SD card isn't that useful anymore. That's the other thing. It's fine for just a point-and-shoot camera taking some, I don't know, 10, 20 megapixel pictures or something. Occasionally. But as soon as you're dealing with like 20 megapixel or above images and potentially recording video, that 4 gigs disappears very quickly. Or can do anyway. Like, I wouldn't get an SD card that was less than like 32 gigs anyway. But yeah, storage is cheap now, that's for damn sure. Like, it long past the point where I would back up the data off my camera SD card and then like clear it off. And instead it's just a case of buy a new SD card, lock the other one and write something on it. You just keep that as archive. You don't need to free up that space anymore. There's just no reason for it. There we go. Oh, that was already done. Did some research on premium. It's kind of a scam for the creators. That's what I thought. Yeah, YouTube gets around 70%. Jesus. And the rest is shared between the people you watch in a way that no one knows. Yeah, that's the bit that I don't know and they don't seem to be transparent about, and therefore I don't like it. I mean, I know ad revenue itself is minuscule regardless, so maybe it would still work out better, but you'd have to actually see the analytics on it. If my YouTube channel was monetized, then I would probably do a bit of an experiment on it if I could, because it's not like enough people would be watching to give me lots of revenue, so I'd probably be able to assess the numbers just based on me watching it with my own accounts. I just need to create another 600 accounts, really. The fact that you need 1,000 subscribers to be monetized on YouTube, regardless of how many hours that you might actually get. And you'd think that the watch hours would all be all they'd care about, because that's the bit that's relevant for advertising, right? Is how much are people watching? It doesn't matter if people are subscribing, it's how much are they watching. But no, you need 1,000 subscribers, and I've been at 400 or so for a long time. It just doesn't really, that needle does not shift, it seems. So. Which is a little bit of a shame. It's a minor frustration. It's only frustrating when you look at other accounts that do have enough subscribers and look at their content and feel, I feel I do better than this. But they probably actually try harder, so fair enough. Speaking of computers, let's talk about NVIDIA. I know very little about NVIDIA. I know that I have a graphics card of theirs. That's about it. I'm sure they do all sorts of questionable things like any other tech company does. I did previously have AMD stuff. I mean, I still have a Ryzen CPU. I used to have Radeon graphics cards and swore by them. But then when it came to upgrading from my HD 68, 70, 38, I can't even remember what the bloody numbers were. Something. It was an old Radeon. And I was looking at what was around. And at the time, there was just no competition to it. Like, there was no no chance that I would get anything other than a GeForce. So that's when I swapped over to my 1070, I think it was. And since then it's been pretty one-sided. When AMD have managed to compete in terms of value for money and performance, they've fallen short in other ways. Like, there was a big compatibility issue. One of my mates, one of my mates online, they got a particular AMD CPU and had a particular AMD graphics card, and the compatibility matrix for it was really scuffed. Like, there was a lot of games, like they were having troubles with Truck Simulator, of all games, where it would just crash randomly. Truck Simulator and Subnautica, the two games that they wanted to play, they couldn't with that graphics card CPU combination. It's like, that is a huge own goal by AMD. Subscribers always been useless statistics. Yeah, it's indicative, but it's certainly more of just an ego push than anything relevant, certainly for like advertising purposes and stuff. So I don't see why they would care about it. It's probably just an outdated metric that they feel that, well, if you've got a successful channel, then you're going to hit it anyway. They probably expect you to hit the subscriber metric before you hit the watch hour metric and stuff like that. But that hasn't held true for a while, because a lot of people will just rely on their suggested page, not subscriptions. So they've kind of shot a lot of creators in the foot over that one. But the bottom line is there's not really a good alternative to YouTube, basically. Like, Twitch is not an alternative to YouTube because the VOD section, like for watching recorded content, is trash. It is not even remotely comparable. So when it comes to non-live media, there's really not much out there that could compare or compete. That could compare or compete with YouTube. There we go. Finally. I think Facebook, you could always like put videos and stuff on there if you really wanted to, but one, that's tied to your own stuff generally. I don't think it works quite so well for branded content and things. And two, the quality is terrible. What am I missing? There's some balcony ceiling frame. Oh, that's still not done. Is it just a bit under the plants? Is there something under here that I needed to do still? It has gone down. Come on. Oh, okay, no, I haven't been along here. My bad. It looked like they were clean, but they're really not. Alright. I'll own that one. That's on me. There we go. Much better. Whopping 0 subscriptions. People like to watch common recommendations anyway. Yeah, I do subscribe. I have a good few hundred. Because, yes, the recommendations are good. But if someone I specifically like comes out with something, I specifically want to know about it. I want to be able to look at, okay, these are the things that I've decided that I do actively like. I want to have a refined list, because the suggestions are good and all, but they do show a lot of repeats as well. Like, a lot of it'll be stuff I've already watched. It's like, yeah, I might want to watch that again, but there's a lot of new stuff that I also want to watch. So it's nice being able to only look at that. There are filters now. You can go like new to me as well. But that didn't used to be a thing, I don't think. And it's still nice to just have it refined down to, this is a group of people that I specifically know that I enjoy the content of. Too far. Green. There we go. See, I find the subscriptions really useful for me, but it still doesn't indicate much. There we go. Facade done. That big door. Jumping around a person's roof like playing an FPS. This is an FPS, didn't you realize? first-person sprayer. It's actually it's a FPS platformer. I mean, what else is it? It's not a true simulator game. You know, I'm not having to deal with my costs or anything in terms of business management or anything like that. It's just you earn money, but it may as well be XP. It's basically more of an RPG. It's like an action RPG where the money is your XP and the gear that you buy is your perks. It's basically it. It's an action RPG platformer FPS. Or first-person action RPG. I mean, it's basically Tomb Raider. Or Assassin's Creed. With a power washer. I'd love them to do a Doom crossover or something, like cleaning Doom levels. Or just demonic ichor and sigils and stuff. I mean, it's published by Square Enix. There's a lot of good Square games that you could get inspiration from. That's how they have the Tomb Raider crossover, which I still haven't done, actually. And that's how they did the Final Fantasy crossover, which is really fun. As someone who likes Final Fantasy. Not like a massive nerd over it or anything, but I do enjoy it. Probably have to do underneath the shutter, I guess. Crossover between this and Viscera cleanup detail. Well, that's basically what the Doom crossover would be. But that's Bethesda and id as opposed to Square, so... It would be kind of cool if the career mode for this actually had like a challenge option where you could like you'd have to finish the jobs under a certain amount of time or something to get maximum points or money income. Oh, that one's already clean, that's already clean. This one is not. Because instead it's like, it doesn't matter how efficient you are really. There's the challenge mode, challenge maps, but they don't give you anything extra. I don't think they even give you money for completing them again. Like, the bonus jobs still give you some money. I don't think that the challenge ones do. But it'd be kind of cool if that was incorporated into the main game, main career option, just as like a difficulty setting or something. I don't know. It'd be cool. Make it a true simulator game in that respect. But for people who didn't want that, just make it that you can play on easy or story mode, perhaps, where you didn't have to care about any of that. I'd be down for that. Bethesda, well, what of a developer? Well, they've been a publisher primarily. In terms of development, Starfield's the only thing that they've developed since Fallout 76, I think. Because they have published a bunch of games in between times, such as Doom Eternal. And a flurry of others that I can't remember. But in terms of development, it's been the Fallout games, since they took those over, and in my opinion, kind of ruined them. I preferred them as a isometric, to be honest. I don't think they ever needed to be first person. Isometric turn-based always made more sense for that playstyle and for that world, I think, rather than first-person real-time. But whatever, they were responding to what people wanted. I don't think that'd have continued to do as well as an isometric turn-based. Though there's been some good ones, like Pillars of Eternity 2 that I'm listening to the soundtrack of right now. As far as I'm aware, it did pretty well for itself. So I feel that the Fallout games could have continued in that vein, but yeah, whatever. And then Starfield it's just space Skyrim. I've been watching people play streams of it. I have Game Pass. I am still tempted. I might give Starfield a go at some point, but I am not enthusiastic about it really. Like, it doesn't look great. It feels like I'll have more fun just playing No Man's Sky again. The supposed RPG element of it is pretty lackluster. The ship customization is, on the one hand, kind of cool, but on the other hand, a bit over the top. I'd kind of prefer it if you just bought a new ship here and there instead of doing like modular expansion that you have to think about. I don't want to have to think. I don't know, maybe you have the option to do both again. I've only seen people streaming it, so it's only whatever they happen to do. I don't know the full ins and outs, but not that desperately interested. Which is a shame, because it's the sort of game that I would have been all for at some point, but I think that they've just not really implemented it as well as I would like, or in the ways that I would like it. This one's supposed to be chill? Yeah, it is, that's right. But that's where it's a case of calling it a simulator is technically not correct. But I also don't think that adding other stuff like again, a time limit for the stars, perhaps, because you get the star rating every, like, 20% that you complete, and that's it. It would be interesting if there was a difficulty metric on it. But again, in the form of an option. I am all for optionizing games. Like, make it so that a player can, without overcomplicating it too much, make it so that a player could modulate their difficulty in order to enjoy it in a different way, but still remain true to what the developer prefers for a game. See, these beams are individual, I like that. They're the wee happy few people have announced a new game? Nope, because I never played that game. I've heard of it, but make a good game this time and not just a good story. Yeah, that happens sometimes, doesn't it? I have no idea of the gameplay of that game. I think I've seen a speedrun of it, which, you know, doesn't really give you the gameplay of the actual game. And I have no idea on the storyline of it. I wasn't that interested in it, so I didn't really pay much attention. But there's a lot of examples of that sort of thing, where, yeah, it's the idea is, it's a great story, but it's a terrible game. There's a lot of old games in particular that are like that. Like, I've been playing through Persona 3 again on PlayStation. I finished it again last night. And, you know, the gameplay is dated. I am looking forward to the reload that I've got coming out next year, because that should breathe a breath of life back into it. I don't know. But the story is still really cool, but so much dungeon grind. And to be fair, even like Persona 5 that this song is from, I've been playing through that on PC, on Game Pass. And it's also a really good story, but every now and then, like the palaces just feel like a little bit overdone sometimes. Feels like they just added a few too extra complications for the sake of it, for my liking. So it's like, oh, I'm really enjoying the story, and now I have to grind again. Well, and now I have to solve some unoriginal puzzles for the sake of progression. Like, it is still a good game, but I think it could err a little bit more on the slice of life and a little bit less on the dungeon crawl. But then you'd piss off a bunch of fans who love that aspect of it, so you can't win. I just played it on story mode, so at least it was easy, I could just walk through. But then it started feeling tedious because of the extra stuff you needed to do. Like, just getting to the bottom of Mementos was basically the same as getting to the top of Tartarus in E3, and it's just tedious. So the door frame is done, okay, I wasn't sure. Nice. Ding ding ding. Big dings. That's what we like to see. I like big dings and I cannot lie. Is this inside and out, is it? I think it must be. Ah, yes it is. That's right. Mosaic. Number 47, apparently. Agent 47? Hitman crossover? Question mark? Are we going to see Hitman DLC soon, maybe? That'd be pretty dope. Cleaning up some of those locations. I mean, this is kind of reminiscent of some of them, so maybe. Gameplay is for We Happy Few, presumably. Go to point A, watch cutscene, go to point B, watch cutscene, repeat until game is over. Well, that's basically like visual novel. I'm kind of fine with that, to be honest, these days. Like, as I've gotten older and my time has become scarcer and my hands have become sorer, I'm kind of fine with that to an extent, but not when a game pretends to be something else. I'm more of a fan of tell me the story while I'm doing things. Yes, interrupt it by all means for some carefully constructed cutscenes here and there, but give me the player agency more of the time. That was the bit about the ending of Persona 5 in particular. 3, I felt more interactive. 5, it kinda, well, especially Royal anyway, 5 Royal, it got to a point of, oh, the boss is actually literally just invulnerable at this point. I just need to wait out these scripted moves and dialogue. He talked way too much before I get the very specific option of press this button to finish the game. And that's less interesting than actually having the battle. Like, yes, I was already a bit battle fatigued by that stage, because it was like, it was basically written as an anime. It was the boss's final form. Spoilers if you haven't played Persona 5 Royal, but I'll omit any names, but there's like a couple of evolutions in the fight, different stages, and then the last one's, oh, you think it's done, and there's a big cutscene, and oh wait, he's not finished yet, and then you go again. And then there's this really weird bit at the very end where you just are in a fist fight for some reason. It's like this piddly dude who has probably never raised a hand to anyone. Somehow he's dealing like 50 damage to my character who works out every day and goes to the gym. So, why are we doing this? It just was very weird as a way to finish the game. So at that point it was a case of just show me the cutscene. Like don't play out all of this extra stuff with the excuse of it being interactive gameplay, because it's not. Just show me the cutscene. But at the same time, it's a case of, instead of doing that, let me actually do the damage to take the boss down rather than scripting things. But I'm generally fine with a cutscene-based game. Yeah, it's got to be interesting enough. And yeah, if you're trying to position it, because We Happy Few was positioned as like a first-person shooter or something, I think, wasn't it? So it's like, if that's not engaging, it's got to be interesting enough for me to want to get from cutscene to cutscene without it just feeling like a chore. But you could argue like some Dishonored and stuff are a bit like that in some ways. It was just kind of cutscene after cutscene when you got to certain places, I think. It's been a while since I played that. Probably not make allegations, but so many factors, games late, factory games. Oh yeah. Well, it's one of those things where there will be fads. Like, it used to be, like, RTSs were all the rage at one point, and then arena shooter sort of last man standing games. You know, after PUBG there was a huge bunch of them, and like the horror survival style game, like Dead by Daylight and stuff like that. You know, the Among Us style of games. Yeah, games have fashion like anything else. And yeah, factory games are the current or have been. I don't know if they still are, but Factorio, Satisfactory, all manner of others, which I personally don't give a crap about. I can't get into it. Yeah, a bunch of maths. Yeah, the games are work. Exactly. I mean, EVE Online was the original spreadsheet simulator. Maybe not the original, but certainly an old example. Oh, that is one. For some reason I thought that hadn't dinged. Maybe I didn't hear it. We have one subscription on YouTube. It's to Coffee Stain. Oh yeah, Devs of Satisfactory. I know the updates when they came up. I would love it if they actually flagged the game as released. Because I believe it's still in early access technically, isn't it? Even though it is a fully functional game. So they are just lying to everyone. That does bother me. Like, early access is not for that, to me. Continue to make updates. Like, people expect that the game will be continually updated these days. People are no longer satisfied with the idea of a game releases, you play it, and then you move on. It's like, no, my game has to be continually updated. Give me more things. Which, you know, I'm fine with, because I love playing this game, for example. But at the same time, there is a bit of a point where it's like, you know what, don't just update your old games, come out with a new one. And in terms of Satisfactory, it's like, it's been done. Like, it's been playable for a long time. You can add extra bits on, you can have expansions and stuff. Like, Icarus came out full release last year. It was criticized at the time of, oh, it's got bugs, it should still be in early access, it shouldn't be released. It's like, no, you can play the game. You can get a lot of value out of the game. You have to actually try pretty hard to break the game. It is finished. They've been doing weekly updates since. That's a much more honest way of doing it than going, oh, we're going to keep it in early access for years. Even though it's really not. And we're not actually going to give much in the way of gameplay variety. It's just literally get more resources, build bigger thing to get more resources to build bigger thing to get more resources to build bigger thing, all in an environment that's very cookie cutter with like 5 different types of animal and plant across an entire planet. Very No Man's Sky school of planet building there. It's Unreal, it's never really fully functional. Yeah, but to the same extent as any other game. This is Unreal, I think, isn't it? Or is this Unity? I can't remember. Can't keep track. This is Unity, is it? Oh, yeah. Well, we'll see how long games like this stick around, if it's based on Unity, if Unity keep ahead with what they seem to be doing in terms of their business model. They're charging devs per installation, or whatever the fuck it is. That's a great way to get devs to not want to use your engine. As long as it doesn't apply to games on the older versions, maybe? Then that's maybe fine for some. But otherwise, I could see a lot of games, like, maybe they'll stop developing on this. They'll go, okay, we can't actually risk that. So we're going to stop updating this game, and we're going to make Power Wash Simulator 2 using Unreal instead. Every time you turn it on, because they decided not to pay to remove it. Yeah, that's a shitty thing to do as well. But then that's, like, I'm used to having opening credits and I don't pay any attention to them. It's like advertisements, you know, I don't actually pay much attention to them. I mean, they are basically advertisements, but yeah, in terms of game engine stuff, I've never paid much attention to that. Unless it's got a cool logo or introduction. Like, games used to do that. It'd be a cool animated introductory logo scene. And it was super cool. Like the old Blizzard logo, where it appeared onto the screen with the wind howling and everything. That was cool. More of that, please. Now it's just, we're going to flash our logo to you for 5 seconds and then move on. Boring. Oh, I'm to 73%. I missed whether or not I got a 60% conversation from the person, because it probably wasn't very interesting anyway. I don't think I've done that roof yet, have I? No, I should do this. Bonk. Not a fan of how they're doing it, but it's a super nice game and the devs are nice. Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, goodwill is important, so at least I've got that. I just am not that much of an interest in the game. That wasn't a sentence. I've seen other people play it. I was briefly interested for it when it got released, or when the first trailers and stuff came out. I thought, oh, this looks really pretty. I like the world. I'm curious to see how it develops. And then it became clear that it was just a case of, oh, we're going to exploit the shit out of this planet for its natural resources. Yeah, that's not the sort of message I'm interested in a game these days, quite frankly. Don't like it. I'd be much more interested if there was ways to... If you could achieve everything in that game using only renewables, like solar power, growing things in order to turn into fuel. And maybe there is. I haven't looked up about it, but that would be a lot of work. And the fact that the game basically just presents the easy option is let's just mine the shit out of everything. I mean, there doesn't seem to be an element of scarcity, at least, because you just put down the mines and they just continually produce resources. So there's that. So I guess it's a magic planet anyway. So whatever. But I much preferred Planet Crafter. I don't know if you've played that. I've got a few videos on YouTube of it. And MyScrim played it a bit. That's a fun game. You're like a convict on a planet, and your sentence is to terraform it. You have to explore it and terraform the planet. So you start off with a hellhole, and then you terraform it to the point that you get clouds, and you get an atmosphere, and you get rain, and you can put flower planters down and make forests and build big bases and stuff. That's much more exciting. I much prefer that. And it's also very numbers based, because the early game grind to do the terraforming is very much a case of min-maxing your resource generation and stuff. Because you've got to collect energy, you've then got to heat up the planet. What's the third element of it? There's three, it's like a holy trinity of three things that you have to do. Oh, pressurize. You've got to pressurize the atmosphere, that's right. Yeah, Planet Crafter, I much prefer that sort of gameplay loop. Yes, you're exploiting the planet early on in terms of surface resources to get set up, but at least you're turning the planet into something nice. It's a bunch of ones and zeros, so I don't care. Yeah, well, that's right. It's all how you look at a game. I like to see if I prefer games that do have some sort of message to it. I mean, this obviously doesn't. This is just brainless clean shit, which is nice. I mean, cleaning is good. That's nice. It's a nice message. You help people along the way as part of cleaning things. You clean up their lives as much as their houses. But yeah, I struggle to look at a game just as a game these days. I prefer it as something, not quite art per se, but it is pretty much that. I've moved on. It's time for me to as well. Oh, it's all the cats have disappeared, right? Yeah, gotcha. That's what she's been ranting about. Maybe. Your own Planet Crafter? Yeah, fair enough. Never really stuck. I could see that, yeah. I really enjoyed it. Like, I mean, to be fair, it was pretty rough. I don't think I've played it since it came out in early access, or maybe I've played it like once after full release. But they've been putting some extra updates in it as well. It wasn't as convoluted or complex a like factory-esque system, so that's probably why it didn't resonate with you as much, if that's the bit that you enjoy most. It was much more about exploration and discovering the resources and stuff. Like, you had to find the blueprints for things and unlock them by certain milestones and stuff, so yeah, it's a different style of game for sure. Did I just swear? Yes, I swear frequently. It's even marked as a mature channel, I think. If that's the only one you picked up on, then you've really not been listening. I don't really have hang-ups about swear words, so... Partially a cultural thing, we just don't care too much over here in New Zealand anyway, but also just a personal thing. We're not quite as crude as Australians, but we certainly don't have nearly as many hang-ups about language use as Americans. Not on my Christian power stream. This is far from a Christian stream. should be very clear. This is not a Christian stream. If you are a Christian, good on you. Don't come telling me about it. I am not and never will be. Ding, ding, ding. I worship at the Church of Ding. What's your religion? Ding, ding, ding. I'm gonna have you watch this power wash video real quick. Should do that for the next time people come knocking on our door. Do you have time to talk about Jesus? Do you have time to watch a power wash simulator video? On the C word that rhymes with shunt. I personally have no objection to it whatsoever. It is a derogatory term, no two ways about it. But in New Zealand it's just as common to use it like Australians do, in a form of endearment as it is as an insult. So we certainly don't get as terribly hung up about it as America. I mean, words only have as much meaning as you give to them. And as words go, that one just refers, it's a derogatory term for a piece of anatomy. It's exactly the same as calling someone a dick, which no one seems to have problems with. I mean, the fact that it's a derogatory term at all doesn't make much sense, but you know, people have been finding weird ways of using words for as long as there's been words, so whatever. But people who get uptight about things, I just don't understand. Pretty sure some auto mod might ban. It wouldn't ban you, it would time you out. Yeah, I don't know what the auto mod settings are. I think I do have auto mod on, so yeah, probably best to avoid it. That said, auto mod keeps turning itself off, I think, because I use OBS and not Streamlabs OBS, but my bot is just the cloud bot that comes through the Streamlabs service. I think it keeps turning itself off because it thinks that I'm dormant because I don't use their software. And I don't remember to go into their, go into the Streamlabs console to make sure that CloudBot is enabled. So I don't know. Because that's all of my commands and stuff are through as well. I don't use Nightbot or anything. So I don't know. I tend not to go out of my way to be intentionally inflammatory in terms of language, but at the same time, I don't particularly personally care. And I certainly don't understand people who do. But that's their outlook. If it's really that important to someone to say, I'm not going to go out of my way to inflame people on it. Ding, 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 ding. There we go. There's my religion right there. I'm going to take a short break and have a drink because I've not had a drink in ages. I know we've only got like 10% to go. I should have taken a break like a quarter of an hour ago or something to hydrate, but I get lost in the moment. I wonder if it'll need me to move the ladder to clean underneath it, because if so, that's kind of annoying. I wish the ladder was in a neutral place, not something that I had to clean under. Kind of annoying. Weird that these flower beds are so dirty and yet they care about it. It's like, I'm just also just traipsing all over their lovely garden, but here in Canada most people have zero fucks to give, yeah. Most all gay people you know wear it with pride. Well, I mean gay is gay. Originally it meant happy. So, I mean, you can be happy being gay. There's nothing wrong with that. Fairly sure over here people aren't that bothered about it. I mean, what's the alternative? That is the term. I mean, there's definitely slurs associated with it, which we're not going to get into. That's just confusingly calling someone a pile of sticks, which is weird. But I don't get that. That's the weirdest thing about slurs and derogatory usage is figuring out how the hell did that even become an association. It's like, that makes no sense. And how did it stick? Don't get it. F word, not C word. Oh yeah. I don't think we use that over here so much. Again, it just doesn't make sense as a word. It's odd. It's also not really used over here as a slur either. So it's just never really caught on. But I generally just usually avoid referring to people as anything other than what they are. Like, we're all people. Why do we need special terms for things? I'm sure there's a fair number of derogatory terms you could apply to me if you really wanted to, but it's just people are people. we all breathe the same. It's just, yeah. People just need to get over themselves and get on with life and stop demonizing other people. There's my deeply philosophical moment for the day. But it is one of those things that you don't have to be deeply philosophical about, really. It really is just that simple. It's not the sort of thing someone could go, oh, but it's more complicated than that. It's not. It's just not. People are people. That's all it is. And if someone's not hurting you with their lifestyle, just leave them alone. Worry more about how you're living your life than how someone's living theirs. I prefer to live my life head down with a virtual power wash on my hands. Or a virtual steering wheel. Or diving suit. Here comes your hour-long philosophy with AJ. Happens at least once a stream. If I get on a rant, then it definitely does. I can talk about literally anything. I have a fairly uncomplicated worldview. Torn whether to finish with the fountain or the doors. Also, I feel there should be a mosaic on this panel here. The fact that it's just empty bothers me. And all those lovely mosaics in the palace. Top of the fountain, underneath the fountain. I think we've resolved that we're finishing with the door, not the fountain. I hate it when I clip into the ground and it just jerks my vision around. So what's left on the ornament? Oh, this side. There we go. I got the trim at the same time and it made it look like the ornament included it. It was weird. Looked at Subnautica and Planet Crafter. Seem like the same game, one's water and the other's deserted planet. Not really. Like, not even slightly? In Planet Crafter, you are forced by the gameplay progression to explore a decent amount, to build certain things in certain ways and ever-increasing ways, in order to get to... I mean, I don't think there's even an end to the game, is the other thing. Like, I don't think it even has a credits bit. I don't know what the end of Planet Crafter is. Whereas Subnautica, yeah, it's got base building. It doesn't have terraforming for a start. It's got exploration, but it also has more risk. Like, there's hostile creatures to have to deal with, which, to my knowledge, they never added into Planet Crafter. But in Subnautica, you can get away with building very little. Like, if you've ever watched a speedrun of it, we build, like, 2 bases, and then the rocket to leave. That's it. Like, you can get away with building very little. Low percent goes even more absurd. Okay, what am I missing? Because I don't have a checklist yet. Porch ceiling beams, porch steps, okay. This one. Good. Then steps. Oh! I guess I need to crouch. Sad what Unity is doing right now. Yeah. One of the best ways to get into game dev since how easy it is in C#. Yeah. I literally had a tab open for the longest time. Oh, terrace floor is not done. Okay, what's not done with the floor? I'm not even seeing anything with tab. Let's use the door. Oh, let's just back and forward a bit. Yeah, oh, there we go. I had a tab open of, like, download Unity and learn how to do it. I was genuinely considering having a little bit of a side project. Maybe taking a couple of weeks off or something and having a bash at something. It wouldn't be good, but it would be something. And then they come along and do this shit. And it's like, yeah, well, not anymore. I have an idea for a fun little game, but literally no idea of how to implement it. Should probably try doing like a mobile app or something. An app game instead would probably be easier. I don't know what sort of engine you use for that. Oh, there's 4 things. There's 3 parts of the door and a step. That's why no checklist. Oh, and tower door handle. Okay, I did not realize the handle. I mean, it's big enough that it makes sense, but there we go. Right, okay, so now the courtyard, step, and door is all we had to do. There we go. Wait, is it? But no checklist yet. 1, 2, 3, yeah. Oh, courtyard wall bases, apparently. You. Okay, I couldn't even see where that wasn't done. It's always Unreal? Yeah, exactly. If I really wanted to do Unreal. So I should take a look and see how, if there's any guides on how to make a basic mobile game. It's like a puzzle game or something would be fun to get started with. So I do enjoy little puzzle games, but they're also predatory. So I'd love to make one that I don't care about revenue, so I'm not going to put ads in it, because I'm not actually trying to make money. I'm just trying to have a fun game. Anyway, got an electric bass lately. Nice. Get away from your gaming addiction. Nice. Yeah, picking up other hobbies is healthy. I have a lot of things that I should do instead. Mostly outside in the garden and stuff, or elsewhere at home. But games are just so fun, you know? Anyway, Exhibit A of games being fun. Lovely. Ended at the perfect spot too. Nice. How clear my mind feels walking around my garden now. It's like you've taken out my brain and soaked it in formaldehyde. Sorry, what? Already the universe has spoken to me. I was staring blankly from my balcony down to the hanging baskets, wondering what life's purpose was, and one of them suddenly fell to the floor and flipped over onto its back. It all came to me, my new calling, run a home for disaffected land turtles. What? I swear, these little maps in their storyline are getting stranger every time. Anyway, that's that one done. So bizarre.